about mobility kind of in two different flavors. The first one would be...
The following program was recorded at the ARC Annual Industry Forum in Orlando, Florida. I'm pleased to welcome Director of ARC Advisory Group, Ralph Rio.
We're here today with Dan Miller of AT&T. Dan may look a little young, but he's well into his 40s and extremely experienced.
Thank you, Ralph.
Dan, tell us a little bit about the industrial side of AT&T. What do you do for companies?
So AT&T is really focused in three different areas on a primary level. The first one is obviously mobility. So we focus on helping companies understand where we can leverage the investments they've made in their back-end IT systems and really port them out to users in the field, because more and more, as you have obviously noticed, people are using mobile tools, right? So in this day and age, pretty much everyone has a smart device on their hip. How do you leverage that investment? And we take a consulting approach to make sure that the application or solution is really married to the need. On the IP connectivity side, AT&T has for a long time been probably the world's premier global network provider. And we've really come up the stack into the application side, where we're providing everything from cloud services, synaptic hosting, application services, and even managed security services, much of that based on things that were developed for internal use and then have been productized out to our customers. And I think the last thing that we're focused on is really the supply chain, and through our subsidiary Sterling Commerce, which many companies don't know is part of AT&T, we provide a wide range of supply chain solutions, logistics solutions, and EDI solutions to really help companies be more efficient in those areas.
Interesting. Let's delve into each one of those in a little detail. Could you talk a little bit about the mobility solutions? I'm used to thinking of cell phones.
Sure.
How does that play into the industrial environment?
So think about mobility kind of in two different flavors. The first one would be machines and more of a telemetry play. There's more and more demand to connect devices in the field back to operations and SCADA systems, and give people the ability to see what's going on in the field without actually going out into the field. So we engage with a lot of companies and a lot of partners to provide ubiquitous network connectivity. You're not always going to have twisted wire or fiber optic cables running to all points that you want to see what's going on. And so what we do is leverage our mobility network to provide that backhaul functionality in intrinsically safe environments, in energy environments, in standard manufacturing environments where it sometimes is more economical just to put in a drop-in cellular network. On the mobility side, from a handheld standpoint, it's more about understanding what requirements people have to do their jobs. It's sitting down and understanding the workflow that people go through in their daily routines. What systems do they access on the back end? What CRM systems, what ERP systems, PLM systems, and I'm throwing out a lot of acronyms because there's a lot in the industry, and then understanding if we were to take certain pieces of those systems and put them into a very structured mobile application, what would the value be in improved efficiency, faster response time, or better decision making? Right, so that's the way we split mobility up into the two pieces.
Interesting. You mentioned SaaS and cloud computing. AT&T is well known as being a networking company, but could you fill in the blanks a little bit around cloud computing and SaaS for us?
Absolutely. So AT&T's always had some presence in the hosting world, right? It was more on the device side hosting. We would colo or provide locked cages for our customers. And customers started asking us to actually host applications. It's more economical, as we've heard in some of the sessions, that some companies want to buy software as a service versus buying enterprise licenses because the demands of the workforce change. They may have to either ramp up or ramp down workforces depending on market conditions. So about 3 years ago, AT&T bought US Internetworking, which was a very well-known application hosting shop that combined consulting services with application hosting. And so now we have more and more demand for these big, large enterprise customers, including the industrial segment, coming to AT&T and saying, please host SAP, or please host Oracle or components of Oracle or SAP, or please host our mail solution, because as their workforce changes, is it really economical to buy an enterprise license if maybe you'll have to ramp down your workforce by thousands of people to be more nimble in the global economy that we're in today.
Interesting. Now, you also mentioned supply chain, which is interesting to us, and this thing called Sterling. Could you talk a little bit about how that maps with the Sterling Commerce maps with the supply chain?
So Sterling, as you might know, is a very robust supply chain software provider. Everything from the EDI aspect of supply chain, suppliers, to the overlay from a business exchange standpoint to allow for seamless visibility from an OEM manufacturer upstream into their suppliers to see where orders reside, where they are in the delivery process, and to streamline the payment from the OEM up to the supplier as things are delivered. And what AT&T has done is bought them, but left them relatively intact to allow them to continue on this course for very streamlined customer engagements. But what we've also done is we've started partnering a little bit more effectively with Sterling to understand how there are synergies within Sterling to mobilize aspects of their supply chain functionality, or to bring them in from a hosting standpoint, so customers no longer have to buy enterprise licenses. They buy Sterling as a service. And so it's really this demand to have a more nimble manufacturing industrial customer that isn't really at the disposal of the marketplace and has to ramp up for peak demand, but then if there's a wax in demand, is really left holding the bag from an infrastructure standpoint.
Well, okay. Now here's the tough question. When I first became aware of AT&T many years ago, when I first got my first phone, it was this really rugged phone. I could pick it up, I could throw it against a wall, it would still work. AT&T made great phones. Please tell me, do you still make phones?
Yeah, unfortunately, much like many high-tech companies, we've outsourced our entire manufacturing process. So no, sadly, we don't make any phones anymore. There's lots of phones with our logo on them that we provide to customers, and we have certain quality requirements and things like that, but we are no longer a manufacturer of any products whatsoever.
Wow. Thank you, Dan. We've been talking with Dan Miller of AT&T about the industrial side of AT&T. Thank you for listening.